Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, depending on where in the world you're dialing from. Welcome to our very special ADDX App Launch event. My name is Darius. I'm the co-founder and COO of ADDX, and I shall be your host today. Before I begin the event proper, I'd like to share a bit of housekeeping, right? This shall be an interactive session. Let's make it informal and fun. So if you want to ask a question at any time, please type your question in the Q&A function in the Zoom interface. At the end of this presentation, we will have a time of Q&A, which I will moderate, and I shall pose your questions to our speakers here. If you do not see the Q&A button, simply move your mouse cursor to the bottom of your Zoom screen, and the Q&A button, which is represented by two speech bubbles, will display. All right, let's get into it. First and foremost, I am very, very happy to introduce my ADDX team members who are with me today. First up, we have Ms. Chu Oi, Chief Commercial Officer of ADDX. Oi has decades of experience in capital markets and M&A, most recently heading up Singapore UBS investment banking. And previously, a long illustrious career for Morgan Stanley, Nomura, Citi, covering a vast array of sectors, including real estate, healthcare, tech, and fintech. So welcome, Oi, to this event. Next, we have Manuel. He's my head of product and my co-founder as well. Manuel did his degree from Cambridge, and he started his own tech company. So as you can see, we at ADDX are diverse in the sense that we have people from the finance as well as from the startup community. So he is German, and he started a fintech company that was acquired by a German fintech called Fino. And there, he was responsible for development and launch of banking products. And we're very happy that he is here. He's basically the mastermind of the new ADDX app. So he will be doing an app demo later on. As for myself, again, I'm Darius, co-founder and COO of ADDX. My background spans both government as well as asset management, most recently in the Government of Singapore Investment Corporation, which is the Singapore Sovereign Fund. And before that, I served in various capacities in the government, including stints in the Ministry of Finance. So I bring that aspect to the team. So I'm very happy to be your host today. Now, as you are aware, we at ADDX pride ourselves in having brought the world of private market investments to a much wider pool of users. And of course, we believe that there's tremendous opportunity within the private capital market space for investors like yourself and myself to add value to their existing investment portfolios, to better diversify your holdings and basically generate better risk reward for your portfolio over the long term. Of course, at this point, I could elaborate a lot more about private market assets and alternatives, but I like to hear what the expert has to say, right? So I'd like to play a video where the ADDX team invited Kelvin Tay, the APAC CIO of UBS, to share with us his experience and his perspective on the world of alternative and private market investments. Without further ado, let's hear what Kelvin has to say to us.
Good morning, Kelvin. Thank you for joining us here at ADDX today.
Pleasure.
We're going to talk about alternative assets. So, Kelvin, please share with us your views.
Well, alternative assets are a great way to actually diversify your traditional portfolio. For us, we actually advocate having at least 11% of alternatives in your traditional portfolios.
Maybe we'll take a dive into the hedge fund space, how it fits and why it continues to be an important part of the portfolio.
The hedge fund space is huge and it's dynamic and it's evolving all the time. So we like hedge funds because we think that hedge funds, with the diversification of strategies that they have, can actually fit very well with the traditional risk return portfolio.
Kelvin, private equity has been a growing space in the recent years. UBS has been in the forefront in bringing world-class private equity funds onto the platform. ADDX aims to do the same with a slightly different investor base. Wanted to get your views again on private equity, and in addition to that, unicorns.
Private equity has been a significant contributor to the financial industry in the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years. The number of private equity linked companies out there, that means the funds available for us to actually invest in, is actually more or less double the size of the number of companies you have on the American stock exchanges. So if you ignore that, you are basically ignoring another very important source of potential alpha for your investment portfolios.
And roughly what sort of incremental returns do you think the portfolio can generate with this allocation?
It depends on which part of the curve you're in. But obviously, if you're going in at a very early stage, right? If you're talking about venture capital itself, the returns can be about 81.7% IRR on a per annum basis. If you're talking about the more mature part of the curve, like for example on a leveraged buyout basis, you're probably talking about maybe on the 20% plus IRR per annum in the sort of range. The rewards are tremendous, not just from a return perspective, but from a risk perspective as well.
And how would you approach, building this portfolio just in the private space?
I'll do it like the way I do it for the traditional portfolios. So by diversifying across vintages and by diversifying across your strategy, you can build up a really nice private equity portfolio that will, generate very, very good returns for you over a longer period of time.
As you know, ADDX is a preeminent fintech company, and I know that UBS is a huge investment call in the area of fintech. So please share your views there.
Well, we think that there is a huge potential for the fintech industry to actually grow. And therefore, we think that in the next 5 to 10 years, that you can reap significant returns from the fintech industry itself.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Now, for those of us in the audience who have been following us for some time, you would by now have noticed that we have changed our brand identity and our name from iSTOX to ADDX. And a very common question, of course, we get is why, right? Why did we do it? I mean, iSTOX was going along pretty well. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to explain to you the thinking around why we did that. Now, our previous mission at iSTOX, right, when we first started out the company 3 years ago, was to put out of reach investments that we couldn't otherwise get our hands on into the hands of underserved investors, right, by offering access through what we call security token offerings, right? These are regulated token offerings regulated by the MAS. So that was iSTOX. And if you go on to the next slide, we fast forward 3 years, we really have achieved a lot. We move forward at light speed. In just over a year and a half, we have put out blockbuster issuances, 11 and counting. Some are live on the platform as we speak. Over 40 million raised on our platform, and that's accelerating every day. We do a lot of outreach, webinars of all shapes and sizes, 20 plus and counting. These are available on our website. Do check them out. And of course, a brand new, spanking new mobile app, which we will introduce in a minute. So why? Why did we change iSTOX to ADDX? Why? And the reason is, next slide, people didn't quite understand what iSTOX stood for, right? I something led people to believe and ask, are you part of Apple? Or are you pretending to be part of Apple? iSTOX led people to ask, are you only a digitized stock platform? Do you do other things like funds or bonds or whatever, right? And an interesting one, iSTOX, are you German? Now, the Germans, we have one German here in the form of Manuel, and he can't understand this, but that's we've received more than 2 or 3 of such queries, so there has to be something German sounding about that. But we thought, did a bit of soul searching, and we thought maybe it's time to change our brand identity. And we landed on ADDX. And ADDX sort of elevates the name to reflect a bigger purpose, right? So we started out and we successfully met our goal by making STOs possible. But if you take a step back, ADDX and the team here believe that we are here for a bigger purpose. We are here to give equal access to financial markets through a regulated, transparent, and community-driven platform. And when we say equal access, we give equal access for the purpose of adding value to people, right? Because by opening up these investment opportunities, we actually help people to create value and help issuers create value in the process. We are experimenters of new technology with a bold plan to basically change how capital markets operate. And this idea of adding real value actually drives all of us in the team. So ADDX, add value, and X for exchange is basically what we stand for on the bigger scale. I'd like to hand over the time to Oyi, who will just dive a little bit deeper into what ADDX has to offer. Oyi.
Thanks, Darius. As you can see, with the rebranding, I mean, we also sort of think very much about how we're using the app and our website to connect. And besides direct accredited investors, we're also working a lot with external asset managers, multifamily officers, who want to look at a deeper participation in alternative assets, as well as brokers and banks. So all of that connected, we're looking at bringing a whole range of funds, for example, hedge funds, real estate, private real estate funds, VC funds, as well as structured credit, commercial papers, PE-backed bonds, and of course, very soon we will be launching shares in unicorns, both either primary or secondary. So it's been super exciting for us, and we think we've created a very useful touch point with our app, in that it makes it seamless and easy to use, and everything's on the phone. You can download the IMs or the presentations or the videos, etc., and make decisions to subscribe there and then. Next slide. Thank you. So what does this mean for investors? Again, just to re-articulate some of the benefits for our investors here, and what does the ADDX platform really do? And this is actually can be seen through the app. First of all, is fractionalization. A lot of these traditional alternative market investments are at a large minimum size, whether it's 200,000 or 1 million, accessible only at a few private banks. We try to open this up to many more investors, and really because we can break that down to in fact, most of our subscriptions are between 10 to 20,000. At the secondary level, in fact, users can buy or sell as low as $100, I mean, if you wish, right? Really, the technology allows that to happen. The second is because we have an exchange, you are no longer limited to a 10-year fund, for example. In the middle of that 10-year fund, should you want to monetize, you can actually sell it through our exchange. So we think that this changes the complexion of what is alternative assets that are traditionally thought of as very long tenor, really not suitable for individual investors. But by using technology, a combination of technology and a bit on the exchange side, I think the risk of that significantly shifts away and allows individual investors to invest in very interesting investment ideas. On the next slide. And some of these we've done, I mean, we've done many of them over last year. I was just reflecting that last year when we got our license, and we walked right into COVID, and we had to, work from Zoom, and we had to shut down. But we're very grateful for the partners who've worked with us. We now have all these opportunities listed on our platform. The first one, actually, a digital bond. So I'd like to say we were actually ahead of many of our worthy competitors in trying to create a digital bond. And so we did that in, I think, late 2019, and we redeemed it in mid-2020. But we have since done Astra. We have tokenized the Astra bond on our platform, both the A and B tranche. These were generally available at the private bank at a very high 200,000 face value, but we offer that at much lower 20,000 on our platform. CGS CIMB was an interesting one as well. It's a commercial paper from CGS CIMB. It's a short-term paper, so it's 3 months, but it pays 1% per annum. And we're hoping to see more of that. These are great opportunities if you have cash that you'd like to sit there for a short amount of time, and you can decide to roll over or redeploy that into other investments. We also have some hedge funds. You see Eternal Glade, Icon, and Ternary. All of them have done very well. Ternary has only just been our platform since December, and they've returned 16%. Quanedge, Icon, which is a feeder fund of Quanedge, has also done significantly well, in excess of 25-26%. Eternal Glade at 30%. We see very interesting private real estate funds and very thematic, and the elite team has been fantastic. They've done a great job of managing the portfolio. They've actually announced distributions of 9% last year, and we're looking forward to working with them on a couple of other things. And Mapletree as well, very, very grateful for the Mapletree team to work with us this year with their Europe real estate fund. And it's an office fund, but it's actually the tenants are all technology and e-commerce companies. And so very long lease terms, very stable returns, and that's a 7.5% distribution yield. And then we have very exciting ones. These are the super, super cool ones. We have a unicorn opportunity fund that invests in secondary shares of large unicorns. That was launched late last year. They have already sort of pretty much invested very heavily over the last few months and have very interesting positions within that fund. Yunti is one that we found a lot of people interested in the China VC space, and in particular, this fund focus on enterprise tech. And again, these are all available on the secondary market. If there were any sellers, please, if you all are clients on our platform, do log in and see if you can buy some of these. I do think they're all very good investment opportunities. Next slide. All right, so I shall hand you over to Manuel. I think we have really taken private market investing to a whole new level with the app, and I'll let Manuel take this away.
Yes, thank you, Yi. And yeah, my name is Manuel. I'm responsible for the product development within ADDX, and I'm very happy and of course also proud to present to you the new app which we have developed. And I urge you to go to your Play Store or App Store, search for ADDX or scan the QR code and have a look at the app, and please give feedback to us. Alex, next slide. So if you look at the technology development and especially app development, it always feels like something very small, and when you use it, it looks so easy, but actually there's a lot of work behind it. Alex, yeah, thank you. So if you look at the app that we just launched on the 20th of May, it actually took 1.5 years in terms of development. So that means, doing a lot of research, developing the design, and of course, and also the technical development. And our approach was really, we didn't just want to copy what we already have on our web platform. We really wanted to think, okay, what does an investor want in 2020 when they want to invest on the go? And of course, that is a challenge, especially if you look at the investment process, the traditional investment process in traditional private markets. So today, you are able to download our brand new ADDX app for iOS and Android. And it comes with a couple of key features that we designed from scratch. First of all, there's a very simplified account opening. So you are able within 5 to 10 minutes to actually create an account and submit that application. Unfortunately, today we are only allowed to accept accredited investors, but we are working hard to open ourselves to everyone. Next slide. Yeah, a very key feature for the mobile app, of course, is the quick login via Face and Touch ID. So if you're already an existing investor on our platform, you know that every time you log in, you have to enter an OTP. With the mobile app, we get rid of that. So only the very first time you log in, you have to enter an OTP to connect the device to your app. And from there onwards, you are actually then able to log in via Face or Touch ID. Next slide. Yeah, so this is one of our newest and biggest features that we are very, very happy about, which is a personalized home, which basically is personalized to your needs. And you're basically able to see your portfolio, your watch list, recommendations. You can read articles about ADDX and much more. And the way we actually achieve that personalization is once you download the app and you click on Explore app, we ask you 3 questions. The first one is, what kind of asset class are you interested in? So things like unicorns, tech startups, hedge funds, etc. You can indicate there. Secondly, you can indicate what kind of target return you're looking for. Alex, next slide. Yep. So you can here choose actually what is the target return that you are looking for. And thirdly, you can indicate, Alex, next slide, what kind of experience level you have within the private capital markets. And this helps us then to actually personalize your experience. Okay, next slide. The last segment, and of course very, very important, is the investment process. We launched with the investment into private market offerings, so the investment in STOs. Secondary trading we will launch probably around Q3. And also you can invite friends and actually earn rewards for every successful invite that you're doing. Okay, without further ado, let us jump into the demo itself, and let me present to you the app in action. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Okay, so as you will notice, we see here a push notification. So that's also one of the advantages of using our app. You actually always stay up to date. So here we can see Mapletree Merit is now live. Now, important, everything that I showed today is just for demo purposes. It doesn't reflect what is currently live on our platform. Okay, let us click onto that notification. As you can see, the app is launching, and here we immediately see that the Face ID is triggered. I don't have to enter anything, and I'm automatically logged into the app. Now, important, I reflect here an approved investor account. So this is the user interface that you will see once you are approved to the platform. And this is what I just talked about. This is the personalized home that we have developed. So you see here on the top where you can see our referral and rewards program. Then here we have the portfolio section. Since I'm representing a new user here, I don't have any tokens yet in my portfolio. Then we see here my wallet. As you see, I have funded 200,000 euro to my wallet. Then I have the watch list. I'm currently following the Mapletree token. Then we have the recommended for you section. Every time there is a new offering that goes live onto the platform, and that is basically part of the asset classes that I selected, it will be shown up here as a recommendation to look at. Then also very nice, we have integrated our ADDX blog into the app, so you can stay up to date. Even if you are not an approved investor, you can actually use the app and read about private market investing. And lastly, your unique referral code that you can then use and share with your friends to earn rewards. So this is the personalized home. Let us go to the next tab. This is my wallet. So in the wallet, you can basically see the different currencies that we support for investing. So as of now, we have SGD, USD, Euro, and JPY. And of course, you can deposit and withdraw the respective currencies to your ADDX wallet. Important here, we have implemented this nice feature. I see here on the top, I have 200,000 euro in my wallet. If I want to change and see that in a different currency, I can easily do that by selecting the respective currency. Okay, let's put that back to euro. Then, of course, our highlight section here is the offerings tab. So inside the offerings tab, you will find all the offerings that we have already completed. And of course, also the new offerings that are available to you. Now, let's assume I would like to invest in this Mapletree Merit Fund. Then I click onto it. And then here, as you can see, very nice representation of this offering. On the top right corner, you see the star, which indicates that I have put this token onto my watch list. Below, you see the details of this offering. So you can see the fundraising target, how many tokens are actually offered, what is the token price, the target return that I can expect, and also very important, the minimum investment amount for the investor. Then we see the key highlights for this investment. And our goal here really is to put everything like a snapshot of this offering in a simple overview to make it as easy as possible for you to make an investment decision. Now, of course, you can scroll further down. You are able to see the timeline and the key dates of this offering. I can see more information around the product highlights. Also, if I want to, I can rewatch the videos of the roadshow or other very important videos that are related to this investment about the issuer through the mobile app. And then lastly, of course, I might also be interested, who are the people behind this issuer? So you can find that here, you can tap on these people and read about it. This is very, very important, of course, because we want to create trust and also enable it for you to get to know the company that is actually behind this offering. If you want to read, of course, more further details, then you also have access to all the documents related to this offering that the company provides. You can also download it and read it on your device on the go. Now, let's assume I would like to invest into this offering. You actually see here on the bottom left that we're currently in the subscription phase. And we can also see when it closes, and right next to it, our Invest Now button. So let's assume I would like to invest into it. Then the invest modal, as we call it, opens up, and I can then indicate how much I would like to subscribe for. So let's put in 100,000 euro, tap on review. And then on the next page, now we have everything in summary. I can see my total investment amount, how much tokens I would get, is there any fee that I have to pay for, and also is there GST that I have to cover. On the bottom, we see the total investment cost, and then of course, you can confirm the subscription with one click. And now what you're seeing here is basically in the background, the app is now communicating with our distributed ledger technology and basically recording this investment onto our blockchain technology. Okay, we have successfully submitted this subscription. Then we can click on done. And if I now navigate to my wallet, I can then see here that I have 99,000 euros left, and that there's 100,000 and 1,000 euro earmarked. So that was, as you can see, a very simple and seamless process, how we designed for you to invest in private market offerings through the app. I would be very honored and very happy if you have a look at the app, download it, and of course, give us feedback to it. Our mission is really to provide a very simple to use product that is easy to understand and makes it as easy as possible for you to invest through ADDX. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Manuel. That was amazing. I'd like to just take a look at the Q&A because we have quite a few questions coming in. So I'd like to just dive right in. And the first one, since we were just talking about the app, something from Manuel, what are some of the challenges you faced or the difficulties that you have overcome when developing and building this app?
I think the most difficult part is really to create something simple and that is easy to understand. So because we put a lot of emphasis on this, we actually had to do a lot of research and also one-to-one interviews with real investors and test all our assumptions when using the new app that we developed. So before we actually started the technical development, we actually showed the prototype as a design form to investors and basically went through different scenarios to gauge their feedback.
Thanks, Manuel. A question for Oyi. We spoke a lot about issuances that we have. How does ADDX choose which issuances to list? How do we gauge demand from onboarded investors and so on?
Yeah, I think we do a number of things. I think what we wanted to do at the get-go was to look at issuers and funds that had some appeal and that were not accessible. So that cut across both the private real estates as well as hedge funds and VC funds. Now, when we speak to potential fund managers, the fund managers that we potentially might put on our platform, we do actually think about a few things. One is whether or not the theme is something that our investors would be keen to invest in. But the second thing is also, who are these fund managers? What is their track record? what is the underlying fund, and we discuss a lot of these commercial as well as legal considerations before we take it for approval to our listing committee.
Cool. And a follow-up question to that, would there be another listing of existing offerings? I take that to mean the second close, third close, and so on.
Yes. So our platform is very flexible in that where we see if there is demand from investors for certain funds, we would definitely be able to reopen a new series or a second close. So all of you out there who are particularly interested in any opportunity, please let us know. We're always welcome to hear that.
Thanks, Oi. Another question that we have asks, how can a non-accredited investor participate with ADDX? I think the sort of flip side to that question is, what benefits would interacting with ADDX have, even if you can't get yourself accredited as an AI on our platform? And as Manuel has introduced to us on the app and on our web platform, you'll be able to see that we put out a lot of educational material, right? Webinars, educational blog entries, articles, and so on, that basically tell readers about the world of digital securities, about the technology that underpins it, about different asset classes, and so on. So there's lots of content, and we're generating new ones every day. So everyone and anyone is welcome to take a look at that. Manuel, do you want to add anything else?
No, I mean, what we had in mind is when we developed the ADDX app, if you look at traditional financial apps, usually when you download them, you're not able to do anything unless you create an account with that respective financial service. But with the ADDX app, at least you can explore the app, and you have access to what Darius mentioned, our insights or articles, which I think is something great to read and to educate yourself about private market offerings.
Cool, thanks. A question on a bit of our history, right? So this goes out to all three of us. For each of the panelists, in terms of operations, commercial product, what were some of the lessons learned along the way? Maybe some mistakes made, or that sort of thing. So maybe we could share a little bit. Maybe Manuel, you can go first.
What kind of mistakes were made?
Or lessons learned, right, along the journey. We've been on this journey for a while, and
I think if you work in a new company, and especially that is regulated, it is challenging because you always, you have to be fast, and being regulated, that puts a lot of pressure on you. You have to follow a lot of procedures. So there were a lot of learnings for myself and also for the team, how to adapt to this kind of situation. It's not let's quickly develop something and put it out there, right? You really have to make sure whatever you build is safe, secure, stable. So I think that's one of the biggest learnings.
Cool. Oi, your reflections?
Yeah, I think because I think we were such pioneers in this space, in this part of the world, or in this space, it really is not so much about mistakes, but sort of where do we redesign the ways that investors think about investing? How do we redesign the product that can be distributed? So we're taking very traditional institutional product and making it accessible to high net worth individuals, right? So there's a lot of consideration and thinking and structuring and making sure that it works both for the issuers as well as investors. I think the biggest time sort of spent was clearly across the legal, the regulatory, and then the tech piece. And then the final piece is actually, as we think about making it very seamless into the app, we also need to think about how are we creating sort of the right type of material so that investors can quickly download that on the app, because it's no longer on the web, or increasingly it will be an app touch point. So how do we make these the information and the decision making from the website to the app?
Cool. And of course, from the regulatory and operations perspective, I think because we're delving into something so new, we're basically the trailblazers behind this evolution of digitized securities. One of the things that we found very, very useful was active engagement with the regulator, right, which is the MAS. And we realized that very, very early on. So that really could help us accelerate that licensing process, the sandbox process, and get us out the door and into a commercial business really quickly. So I think that was one of the key sort of lessons learned, and we've sort of learned that very quickly and managed to pivot around that. All right. An interesting one. Are we in partnership with UBS? And are there any other companies we are partnering with? Oi.
We are always up for partnerships. We want to make this a very robust platform with a lot of activity and with depth and with breadth. So partnerships are all what we're all about. UBS is a very good friend of ours. A lot of us are alumni of UBS, and so we, clearly work closely with them. But it's not stopping us from working with other financial institutions as well. We want to make this an ecosystem. We want to be sort of part of a bigger ecosystem.
Thanks. And speaking of ecosystem, how do we see ADDX standing up or standing alongside new players, larger players like DBS, Digital Exchange?
Yeah, we've always welcomed competitors, I suppose, right? Whether it's DBS or anyone else. I think the recognition of how deep and what large potential this space has. I mean, DBS is not going to obviously set up something for a small, for a small and pokey area, right? I think the deeper question is how big is the private markets? How do we address that? And some of us will have different strategies. But more excitingly, I think the fact that DBS has come out and using blockchain to execute some of these is a great validation for a young company like us, because we've already been doing it for a while, and we know the technology is very, very powerful. And the space is large enough, and I think we will all find ourselves to be very successful across and coexist.
Excellent. Thanks, Oi. We have a question on secondary trading. I'll take that one. How are market prices determined on the secondary trading market? And it's very simple. It's a willing buyer, willing seller at the prevailing market price, right? So unlike a lot of these other non-transparent platforms that do syndication and so on, we run a continuous market, and by that we show the order book, we show the bid orders and the ask orders, and we show the last done and the volumes and so on. So all that will be transparent. And for those of us who have not yet experienced the look and feel of our secondary trading market, I encourage you to sign up for iSTOX account and take a look. So that's market price, transparent and fully visible to all market participants. Now, I like to sort of round off this series of questions with a look to the future, right? So for both Oi and Manuel, Oi, what kind of future issuances can we expect in the next year or so? Would we be, for example, offering pre-IPO companies like Grab, Tokopedia, Gojek, so on? And for Manuel, besides bringing features of the web platform onto the app, what are some of the new features that are upcoming? Give us a sneak preview.
Yep, so I'll go first very quickly. I think we will continue to see a very strong pipeline of funds, whether that's across real estate, private equity, VC. And, there are a number of very interesting ideas coming through this couple of quarters. But what's super exciting, as Darius, I mean, you mentioned pre-IPO companies. I think that's something that we will be launching a couple quite soon, and in very interesting spaces. So keep an eye on that if you're on our platform for things like that. And it's a combination of unicorns as well as a little bit more well-known pre-IPO companies here in Singapore. The last one, which is has been quite fascinating for all of us, and we've been thinking quite hard about what to put on our platform, is potentially crypto related. And we're not doing crypto directly, but there are many financial funds, for example, that are coming up and putting together very interesting ideas. And so we're looking quite carefully to see what we can add onto our platform there.
Cool. Manuel.
Yes, I mean, generally, if you look at the mobile app, there are already quite a couple of new features that are not available on the web. Number one is, of course, what I mentioned, the Face ID or Touch ID for a seamless login. Number two, of course, you are able to get push notifications and you are able to invest on the go. And you have the new personalized home tab. Now, going forward, what we are looking at is, number one, we want to also offer Forex exchange throughout the app so that you can convert currencies. Then secondly, we also want to provide a more easier mechanics to actually transfer money into your ADDX wallet. And thirdly, very excited about that one, is of course the integration of the secondary trading into the app.
Fantastic. We just have about enough time for one last question. Manuel, this is for you. As someone, the person asking the question, who's looking to create my own app, any tips learning from Manuel, the expert?
Well, okay, just one more comment on the last question. Of course, whoever asked that question, I would also, be happy to hear what kind of features do you expect, and which ones would you like to see in the app? And we're always very eager to learn and see it from every angle. In terms of tips to develop your own app, I'm happy. We can have a one-on-one chat at any point in time to take that offline. But in general, start small. Scribble on a piece of paper your prototype, whatever you envision, and then of course you need to find developers and users to test it against with. But yeah, I'm happy to take that conversation for coffee after the lockdown, maybe. Yes.
All right, that brings us to the end of the time that we have. On behalf of the ADDX team, thank you so much for making time to be with us today. Thank you, Oi, thank you, Manuel, for that enlightening session. As you can see in the chat box, my teammate Alexander has typed in his email address. So if you have a desire for one-on-one walkthrough or any questions at all, please reach out to his email, alexanderlee@addx.co, or any one of us will be very happy to tell you more. So on behalf of ADDX team and all of us here at ADDX, a very good day, a very good evening to everyone, and until we meet again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.